Hey everyone, welcome to the latest app. So we haven't been talking about Excel for a long time. So in between, I'm just juggling around different tasks. So introduce you the database. Now we're back on track to the Excel tips and tricks. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to organize your list using a simple method. You can see over here, you can check, I got an export list over here. You can see there's a repeated pattern about your information. For example, from row 2 to row 2 to row 5, they're actually one kind of information. And if we jump to the other part, you can see they're talking about different users. So they have different name and different email address, and the same thing repeated and same thing repeated again. So the data is moving forward in a number of, say, 4 units, 4 different rows. So what we're going to do is we're going to organize this information more like we just need the email address and the username. So we want to be able to extract the user and also email address only in this kind of list option. But here we got some noise, for example, the user profile image and also P&L dashboard, because this is basically a list of users who have access to the P&L dashboard. But when we copy this from a website, it has some in the place for different information. So what we're going to do is we analyze that every 4 units will be one part of the information. So they're 1 unit, they're 1 unit, they're 1 unit, and internally they have some orders. So always start from the user profile image and the username, email address, and the P&L dashboard. So first address that order. So we know that this will be 1, 2, 3. The internal order is, say, the first row will be the user image, second it will be the Rachel Jackson, third will be the email address, and then P&L dashboard. And then we repeat this pattern again, right? So again, down to word. But how do we achieve that easily? Because when we're going down, there's 101 rows. So what are we going to do? We just select this tool and use this handle, double click. You can see there's a random pattern has been filled by the flash fill. That's fine. You can click this button to toggle the difference. So we're going to use the copy cells. Now you can see every 4 count of the row, the fit will change to 1, back to 1, and back to 1, right? So this is what we need. So we call this internal. So internal order, we have addressed that. But how we deal with the external order, what I want is this will be the group 1. This will be the group 2, right? So they have this kind of internal hierarchies. But how do we feel that? If we just double click to have the same thing, if we use the copy cell, it will repeat that. Doesn't make sense because I want this to be group 3 rather than repeat back to the group 1. So we Control Z. What we can do is we remove this. First, we found that it will increment by 1 for every 4 rows. So we can actually first locate the row number of current row. Once we have this information, we just copy down. If we have this, we use this divided by 4. We'll get this decimal number. You can see whenever there's a reach to the fifths, it will become 1.5 and 2.5 and also 3.5. So what we can do is we can actually just run this and up to 0 precision. We'll see how this results. Now we are actually using the division, the round function, have this kind of external order has been correct, right? You can see that. So this piece of information is group 6, and internal order we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the information placeholder for user profile image, username, email address, and which dashboard they have access to. Once we have this, it will be much easier for us to extract the information in such a format. So what we need is the username and the email address, right? So username in the front, email address after that. And literally we need we need everything from group 1, group 2, group 3. Here, if we're going to add a filter, the maximum number of this group column is 25. So we can drag this to 25. So we are going to extract information for 25 different groups for their individual username and individual email address. And we make this larger. We move this down a little bit, because we know the username information is only for the internal order, which is the 2, and email address is a 3. And 2 and 3 in this particular column is what we need. So username is 2, email address 3. Now it's becoming much clearer what we need to do. We just need to do an index match. But this time I'm going to use the new function, XLOOKUP. So how do we do XLOOKUP to an array? We can just type XLOOKUP. We tap through. So lookup value is going to be in conjunction of 2, because this 2 column going to help us to identify which information. Because this 2 and 1 combination is one and only in these two columns. If you combine them together, we got Rachel Jackson, right? So what are we going to do? Lookup value is first, we need to know that this two is the username, which is from the internal group, right? So we're going to say this one. But we need to make sure that when we control enter, group enter, the whole thing, the column that we're lookup has been locked correctly. What we can do is click F4. But how are we going to click that? So our information going to fill in this cell, but also the H3. So we need to make sure our formula is able to freely move from G column to H column. So the code wouldn't lock it. We just look at that row, lock the row 2. So click F through. So you can see we are not locking the column. We're locking the column, which is 2. We're going to use it in conjunction with this cell. This cell is the other way around. We're going to lock the column rather than the row. So we're going to make sure the F is locked with a $sign in the front. And there's nothing in front of number 3 because we don't want lock that row. Once we have this, we're going to look at the array. Lookup array is going to be pretty easy. The first array we're looking at is the username array in conjunction with the external group, right? So username is actually from this column. So we're going to Control Shift down and then we use F4 to lock everything. Because no matter how you move up and down in this range of the formula, this cell from B2 to won't change. So we lock everything. And then we're going to use a conjunction with this external order because this 1 to 25 is coming from this particular column. So we're going to lock everything same as the previous one. And then the return array is going to be the export column from up to the bottom and then click F4. Once we have fulfilled this, we can close these preferences. You don't need to define exact match or proximate match because by default, XLOOKUP is going to be used exact match. So we can use group entering, just hold your control and enter. Now you can see everything has been reviewed properly. We have 25 different users with their corresponding email address being displayed in the column H and their usernames and the column G. That's pretty much for today. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you like this video, please leave a comment below or subscribe my channel. Thank you.